Welcome to Picks with the Professor, the sports betting show brought to you by a real statistics professor. This is Major League Baseball Saturday, August 17th. Got a couple good picks for you here. Going to try to keep it short and sweet. Now you got a lot happening here on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, depending on when you're watching this. But just a reminder, of course, the BOGO offer for Dub Club Honor Roll All Access to get Major League Baseball, college football, NFL, all sorts of goodies. That offer is coming to a close. That link in the show description will get you the buy one, get one. You pay for, mid-August to mid-September, some good baseball, the start of football, and then you get a whole nother month of a bunch of football for free. So check that out in the link in the show description. Of course, the Discord chat where we have a lot of fun. And of course, projections, picks, notes, all sorts of goodies here for you for baseball, college football, and NFL. Last year we had a 5% ROI, the A grades for college football, and about a 20 some odd percent ROI for NFL. So you don't want to miss that. Also, of course, just some quick reminders. Share picks with theprofessor.com/new will get you information about the community and the model. It is a player-based model, which means that ratings reflect the current roster. Of course, your college football and NFL models are also both player-based, which really matters as people change teams in both of those sports, injuries, etc. The average grade is 100 higher, implies more scoring. So for a pitcher, you want to be lower. For a hitter, you want to be higher. We are projecting an average game, one game. No idea what's going to happen, but in the long run, this will profit. Doesn't mean we're going to win every day. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean we're going to win every week. But the last 3 months here, we've been hitting about a 5% ROI with a ton of bets, doubling, tripling bankrolls, and that's how we're doing it because the averages work in our favor in the long run, even though one game, I could be completely off on this because weird things happen in one game sample sizes. That means 55% winners will win 11 out of 20 times and lose 9 approximately. And of course, we are guided by this principle that anything is a good bet at the right price. The number doesn't mean it'll ever show up. It just means if the right price gets there, there is a price. We should be willing to make any bet. Of course, as always, I'll take what you like and leave the rest. We're going to start off here, 6:40 p.m. Eastern with the Royals and the Reds. We are looking at some nice hitting weather in a very small ballpark, which is why you see that projected total there of 9.7, mid-80s to start, and a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind blowing out. It's going to be very hitter-friendly to start. In general, the starting pitchers are just kind of average. They're both solid. They both have some good moments. These offenses are kind of average. They both have some good moments. Of course, both are inflated by playing in hitter-friendly ballparks, and that's what we have here in Cincinnati. And so we're really expecting the weather to help us drive the runs early. As the game winds down, it'll get a little bit less hitter-friendly. The wind will start to die down a little bit more in the 5 to 10 mile an hour range. It'll be more upper 70s. The ball's still going to carry fairly well in a small ballpark, but it's not going to be quite as hitter-friendly. But for us, the good news is that neither one of these sets of relievers inspires a lot of confidence. The Royals bullpen is revamped, and it is better than last year, but it still right now looks to be below average. Of course, the Reds bullpen's been part of their problem this year. They've been on a little bit of a hot and cold streak every time you turn around, and when things go well, the bullpen's doing better, and when it's not, that's when the bullpen struggled. But overall, we just don't like much out of this bullpen. Pretty close to a 50-50 contest. It should be an interesting game. Again, fairly even matched. But we're going to go over 9 here. We locked this in at minus 120. That push protection on 9 is really valuable. The model would still lean over 9.5, but I'd rather pay a little bit of juice here and go over 9 in case it gets to 4-4 and gets stuck there. We at least have our push. Again, the model thinks that 10 is probably more likely to happen here. Maybe even 11 is more likely than 8, given the fact that you get to 11 on 5-5. Of course, the higher you get, the less impactful those odd numbers are. But again, projecting 9.7, you're just going to trust the model, nice hitting weather, and going to go over 9. But of course, folks, as always, shop around for the best price, the best number. Every time you could turn a push into a win, a loss into a push, every nickel and dime you can save will help you in the long run. If you don't have an account there yet, BetUS is a great place to sign up at. They are still doing the 125% bonus on your first ever 3 deposits. It's $2,000 a piece. Again, link in the show description. If you don't have an account there, make sure you've got multiple outs. One of them should be BetUS. Sign up today.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
And again, folks, picks, leans, projections, notes, everything you can ask for every single game of the Major League Baseball season available on Dub Club. This Saturday slate is no different. 13 other games that are happening that we have information on for Dub Club. The other one we're going to talk about here real quick here again for you on this Friday night, Saturday morning. Guardians and the Brewers, another night game, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Should be a beautiful night in Milwaukee. Should be able to open up the roof or the panels or whatever they're doing there. Low 70s, so not really having much of a weather impact. Tanner Bybee and Freddie Peralta. This one's an interesting one from Peralta's standpoint. Bybee's been pretty solid all season. Not a lot of ups and downs for the most part. Just very consistently graded out fairly well. 3.39 ERA, FIP right there with it. XFIP a little bit higher. That means he's been maybe a little bit lucky with the home run ball. But I mean, for the most part, just trucking along, doing his job. Being a very solid pitcher here for the Guardians, who have a very, very good bullpen. All season has been one of the best in baseball, according to Sideline and in the results. It's been fantastic. For the Brewers, though, again, this is where it gets interesting. Freddie Peralta definitely not quite as good this season as we had hoped coming in, especially if you're a Brewers fan. His ERA is now into the low fours. The FIP lines up with that. His XFIP is a little bit lower. So he potentially has been a little bit unlucky. Probably not quite as bad as that low 4 ERA. So there's a little bit more hope for him. But what I'm saying is, yes, he maybe isn't quite as bad as that ERA, but it has been a step back for him. He's a guy that we were thinking would be more in the mid threes, maybe low threes, if everything went right for him. And it's just been kind of an up and down year. He's had a handful of pretty rocky starts, and that puts him much closer to league average than I would have expected at this point of the season, at the start of the year. And so when you look at it that way, the Brewers, of course, their bullpen is not bad whatsoever, and getting Devin Williams back helps, but it's hard to match up with the Guardians bullpen. The Guardians have the edge at starting pitcher. They have a slight edge on offense, but of course, both of these offenses can be very hit or miss, very streaky. The Brewers, though, really missing Christian Yelich, and they've still been playing some good baseball, so I don't want to take that away from them without Yelich. They finally looked good without him, whereas for most of the season, they've been lost without him, but that's still not to say he's still a pretty good hitter, and losing him puts him closer to league average. The difference there on the screen, folks, that you see between these two offenses, that's really rounding error. I wouldn't necessarily say the Guardians are much better on offense. What I would say is that the Brewers offense, probably you lean them better if fully healthy, but at this point, maybe you lean Guardians. It's tough to say. Maybe we just say, look, it's close, let's throw it out. Okay, so if we throw out the offenses, the Guardians are going to have an edge on the mound all game long in this one. And so that's why, even though the Guardians are on the road, we think they should be slight favorites in this one. They would win 53% of the time, according to the model. They are struggling here tonight on Friday. The game isn't over yet, so it'll be an interesting finish. But I still think the Guardians here should be slight favorites. We're going to play the Guardians at minus 102. The Brewers are slight favorites according to the sports books. We think it should be the other way around, so a little bit of a wrong team favorite action, which is one of our favorite plays. And so we're going to back the Guardians here again, as long as the price meets the threshold for being a good pick, which according to the model is right around that number. We're basically looking for something very close to even money. We aren't as excited about playing the Guardians at, minus 110, especially if it's, that high. Maybe minus 105 is okay. That's really about as high as we want to go. We're really looking for something around even money, locking them in here for a game that we think anything can happen, but we slightly lean Guardians, so looking for good odds and a chance for Cleveland to win, backed by that really good bullpen. Again, that's all we've got here for today. Every other game available on Dub Club. BOGO offer this week only, so check that out with the link in the show description. Otherwise, we hope you have a good weekend. We thank you for watching, wish you the best of luck, and remind you that you can eat your betting money, but we ask that you do not bet your any money.